I'm on the beautiful island of Madeira, and I'm going to be going over what I travel with my drone bag. So everything in this video I've paid for with my own money. With the exception of ND filters, I'm not going to talk about those because I've done those in a previous video, but everything else I've paid for myself. So the bag's from BagSmart. It's about nearly 50 quid on Amazon, but I'd seen really good reviews of it, and I thought it had this cool like Indiana Jones vibe to it, kind of retro explorer vibe, and I quite liked it. I think that might have a slightly darker colour as well, if that's more your thing. Obviously we have the essential DJI Mini 4 Pro, my favourite drone, and you notice I've got the red tape here, which I saw Brett Conyers' video in Australia, and he recommended this reflective tape. It might help with bird attacks. If that works my percentage in favour of it's being less taken down by birds, then I think it's worth trying. So obviously just make sure that this doesn't put it over the 250 grams, depending on how much tape you apply. My favourite drone accessory, I've only picked this up recently, and it's one of these things that I just think, why the hell didn't I do this earlier? And this is this cover from FPV TUSY for the RC2. 3 benefits. Firstly, if you're lazy like I am, you don't have to take the screws off all the time. You can just flip it open like this and you're good to fly. So you've got a slightly quicker startup time. The second benefit is obviously it protects your screen. So when you're traveling abroad, you can feel more confident putting it in your bag. And the final benefit is it gives you a little bit of sun glare protection when you're out. If you hold it at the right angle, if you're flying in the middle of the day when it's sunny. A lot of people complain that the RC2 isn't bright enough, and by modern phone standards, it isn't the brightest display in the world. This does help. I've got this SD card storage case from Orico, which is really handy, especially when you're going on your drone trips. You want to know, I keep on one side the SDs I've used, on another the SDs you haven't used. And by the way, this bag has got SD card storage as well, so you can use those, but I prefer having them in a case like this, nice and solid. You've got plenty of sections here, so you can put your mics and things in there. Also a section here if you want to put a hoodie, so I've got a spare cap there. Of course, I take with me DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and on an actual day out, I'll store this in my pocket, but for taking it on flights and moving from location to location, of course, I'll put this in the camera bag. The mics I use, I've got the DJI Mic 2, which I got for the Pocket 3. And for getting convenient shots, this is pretty good, but I generally use the Rode Wireless Go 2 more often than not. Something else to note about this bag is, when you're going around with your drone, you really want to have good quality padding here. This is what stopped me before. I was worried, I'd go around with the DJI bag because I was worried that this was going to move around. This bag is very good. See how secure that looks? My friend has actually got a more expensive case than this. He spent about 120, I think it was, and these move around. So when he opens his bag up, he can have his drone here, his controller here, in different areas to where he arranged them, whereas this is very, very good quality padding. And of course you can change this and modify it to how you want it to be. Now if you want to get easy, quick access to either your camera or your drone, you've got this side pocket here. Whilst you've got it in your bag, get your drone out, get your controller out. Just make sure that you be careful with this though, because if you pick up your camera, obviously there's danger that something falls out with it, and you might forget, if you're taking an SD card out, that it's not zipped up, so be careful. About to go on a day out with the drones, and we're about to hire a car. And in this instance, I'm going to take more with me than I would normally if I'm going to go with a trek. So I'm going to bring things like my portable charger. I've got the Saffuel 30-watt one here. Obviously, we have the DJI charger. I have 4 spare batteries. There's no right or wrong number with this. That's what I find works. But if you've got 3, I think you should be fine. And what I'll do is I'll leave this charging in the car as I'm about. I've also got this travel tripod. It's a Hammer Star 75. It's pretty good, just be very careful because it's not the most stable in the world, but as long as you're careful with it, don't have it up too high. You will struggle to get this at eye level. It's not amazing, but for traveling, for getting little shots here and there, especially with the Pocket 3, it's absolutely fine, does the job. This little screwdriver from DJI, now it's not great. I'm going to talk about this more in my review on the Mini 4 Pro. It's one of the weaknesses that I wish they gave us a better screwdriver. I found I can get this through in the airport though. whereas if you bring a nicer, fancier screwdriver, that'll get taken off you. So that's one of the benefits of this being really bad. Now, it could be different. Other people might have it taken off them, so you have to take your chances. But if you bring a longer one, you will get that taken off you in the scanner at the airport. Whether you bring a spare drone, that's a tough one. It's up to you. I mean, I had a friend coming with me, so I've had problems with my drone. We could rotate and use the other drone, but if you can, I think it's worth bringing a spare drone, especially in the Mini series. By the way, when you're going through the airport, you want one of these Lipo bags for keeping your batteries. You're able to have one battery stored in the drone, which is fine, but some airports are funny and it's safer to have them in a Lipo bag.